Well, it's an absolutely beautiful morning, winter's morning on the Broadwater here on the Gold Coast, and I'm fishing with my mate Rodney from Attic Tackle.
There you go, good morning.
And we're chasing squid. We're going to show you everything you need to know about catching squid. We're going to show you how to clean them if we get a few as well. We've got a couple of little secret rigs that Rodney likes to use that gets them, the scents, the actual squid jigs we use, the rigs, just about everything, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. Hopefully we'll have a good day.
Yeah, hopefully. To start off, all we're doing is there's a big long patch of sand and weed along here. Squid love weed. So we're going to drift this big long stretch along here. We're going to throw our squid jigs around and see if we can find ourselves a feed of fresh squid. So Rodney's got a very interesting rig that I've actually never seen anyone do before, but it makes sense. It's like a paternoster, isn't it?
It is. So I run normally just a little teardrop sinker on the bottom, or a swivel bomb sinker, and I run 2 squid jigs. I normally have 2.5 and a 3, just to see what they're biting on. Put it in the rod holder, real light drag, and just let it do its thing as you're drifting.
Or just bounce it on the bottom?
Yeah, just get double. I normally get double hookups this way.
Really?
Load it up with some scent and just drop it down.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's only bouncing on the bottom. They're floating anyway, sitting in the either on the bottom or that mid-water column, and yeah, it just does its thing. It'll pull drag if it's on. Oh, hang on. No.
You hold this rod, you're right.
That could be a fish or it could be the bottom. No, it's just bottom, bro.
Yeah, I got one, guys.
Hey!
Squid on. Now, what a really good technique is here is to cast in directly behind it. Oh, there he's inking away.
Where's the net? Oh, I'll get the net.
Well, don't worry about the net. Oh, I've lost him. He's come off. I waited too long. He came off. But often you find one, you find another one. Yeah, found a patch of them. It's always a good idea, once you do find them, is just have a look around, make sure you remember exactly where you are, or hit that GPS and mark them. Just a little fella. Not going to muck around with this guy. Get him straight in. And I'll let him ink. He's only tiny. Oh, sorry, Rod. Pointing the other way. Yay! Now, these guys are only very small, but they do make for a great feed when you've got quite a few of them. They're a beautiful creature. If you have a look, they're so unique. In that sunlight, that guy looks amazing. Look at him. That's it. We found him.
Found a patch.
Found a patch. Now, really good technique is, like I said before, once someone's hooked on, you get another one in behind it, and you can literally catch one after another. Now I'll bring, and I'll net this one as well. That one's bigger, Rodney.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good sized one. And if you can, let them ink in the water so you don't get it all over your boat.
Oh, hang on.
Got one on there?
Yep.
Yeah, you do too. Oh, just as quickly as that, we've gone from 0 to 3 in no time at all.
And that's on the bouncy one.
Yeah, that one's even bigger again, I think. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. Yeah, that one's better again. There you go.
Is that thin? Oh.
3 in the net, and that one was definitely the best one. Beautiful size, eating. This is a great thing to introduce kids to using lures, because it's so simple. They can literally just leave the rod in the rod holder and you'll catch them at times. But the real simple technique is to try and get that jig down to the bottom or close to the bottom. And then all you're doing is a couple of big flicks, just like that. Wind up your slack and let it sink down again. And you can be quite aggressive with your flicks as well. If they're not reacting, like some big flicks, they will come out of that weed when they see that jig really darting around. that feels like a fish.
I think it's fighting one.
Gosh, it feels like a fish.
Good head shakes.
It's a flathead. I've got a flathead on the squid jig. It's a good one too. Got to keep it tight.
Hey!
And that's the bycatch. If you do hook a fish when you're using the squid jig, you just have to keep it super tight because obviously on those squid jigs there's no barbs. That's not a bad flathead actually.
It's actually a really good flathead.
We'd be happy with that in the classic.
That is stupid.
We could be having calamari and fresh flathead fillets for dinner, huh? That's a lovely fish. Might send this one home to me mum.
That's a great looking fish.
Yeah.
A great eating fish.
I think you got a fish on the
hang
other
on.
one. You got a squid on there, mate. Can you get a photo, Jed?
Oh, I dropped him.
Oh, you loser. Another thing Rodney's noticed, he was mentioning before, is that often you'll see clumps of weed floating around, and that's sometimes a good sign that the squid will be hanging around there as well, especially when they're spawning, because I'll often drop their eggs in that floating weed. Also is the theory anyway. So if you see those big clumps of weed that are floating mid-water, that's a pretty good indication you might be around some squid.
I'll come down and do a land-based sesh.
Oh really?
Around there and I'll just walk up and down. I normally get 3 or 4 and
Oh, that's cool.
in an hour and a half and go.
Got one?
Oh, yep, got one.
Oh, he's on a big one.
Good one.
Cool, I'll just get the net. Hang on.
There's a good one.
Good.
Oh,
Rodney!
no, hang on. Is it a flathead maybe? It's a flounder. Hang on.
Is it really?
Ah, it's
What is it? Oh, there you go. You can net that yourself. There you go. Good job, Rod.
I got a porcupine.
That's negative points.
Yeah.
Wow, the heck, that looks like a soccer ball with spikes.
You got a puncture.
Oh my lord.
Oh, you. Oh, you. Swear to God, he's like my pug.
They're quite cute, actually.
He is. He's got a cute face.
Oh, that's hilarious. You got him this time?
He's biting it.
Yeah, you can't, there's no lips to grab.
He's gonna fall.
Whoa, there he goes. Look at him, bounces away. Oh, that is funny. He will absolutely right himself and he'll be fine. Isn't that a weird fish? And apparently a delicacy in some countries.
Yeah. Homer Simpson had some, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So I'll quickly run through the gear that you'll need to catch squid. It's super, super simple. The lighter the better. I mean, this is probably well and truly overkill. It just happens to be one of my flathead rods that's on the boat. Chase flathead and bream with, but like literally a 1 to 2 kilo rod is plenty. 800 size reel, you know, 4 to 6 pound braid is all you need. Light leader. But when it actually comes to the jig, the actual squid jigs themselves, there's a few different sizes. And I'll show you a couple of those now. And I guess the difference is sometimes I'll feed on bigger baits, sometimes I'll feed on smaller ones, but it also depends on your sink rate and your current. So my suggestion to you when you're fishing for these is to fish the first couple of hours leading into the full tide, the high tide, and the couple of hours just after that. Right in the middle of the tide, when the tide's ripping, it's actually really difficult sometimes to keep your squid jig close to the bottom, and it'll just keep rolling up and it's just a nightmare. But when the tide's a little slower, that's a great time to chase them. So when it comes to the actual sizes, sometimes a smaller will work better than a big. You just got to chop and change to see how they go. And also your sink rates. You want it to sink down fairly naturally, nice and easy. You don't want to sink like a stone. But for the most part, I very rarely use the smaller ones. I like the nice big ones. And I guess the other one is colour. Does colour make a difference to these squid? Well, In my opinion, no. I've used colours that people have told me would never work, and I've caught lots of squid. Like even today, I mean, this is just a grey, white, there's nothing to this. It does have glow eyes on it though, whereas Rodney's using like a hot pink. People love these fluoros. It's all about getting the attention of the squid in the water. So I actually think it's more the action, really getting this squid jig moving through the water erratically. I think that's more important than colour, but chop and change. You're not getting them, change colour, you might start getting them. It really is about spending time on the water and working out what works for you. But you need to find weed beds along the bottom, work your jigs real close to those weed beds, a couple of flicks off the bottom, and you'll get some calamari, no problem whatsoever. One last little tip for you guys. Before we go and show you how to clean these squid, is that these squid do react really well to a big tide and a full moon. So we haven't caught many today, probably because we're approaching the new moon. Got decent tides, but for some reason these squid just love the full moon. So the 2 to 3, 4 days leading into the full moon are definitely the best times to be chasing squid, just like this. That is really bad etiquette. When you see someone fishing and their lines are there and he basically ran straight over the top of where our lines were. That is not good fishing etiquette. That guy is a jerk.
Take that to the bank.
All right guys, I'm going to show you how to clean these squid. There's some small ones there and a slightly larger one. And it's a very, very easy process, I can tell you that. Now, some people just cut the head off. Rather than do that, I like to grab the head and reach in and try and pull out as much of the guts at the same time as I can when I take that head off. Sometimes it'll slide out with it, other times it won't, and this time round doesn't look like it's going to. So there's the head. Do not throw that away. The best snapper bait on the planet, and his tentacles are grabbing a hold of me. See how fresh these guys are. Now he has a backbone in there. You want to try and grab that, and you got to try and loosen that or take that backbone, it's more like cartilage really, off the inside of him. There we go, nearly off, and there it comes. That's the whole thing's come out. Look at that, even his stomach sac there is whole. That's crazy. Yeah, lots of ink to go with it. Okay, so you've got the two little wings on the back here, and by getting your thumbnail, stick it in there. If that one's already a bit broken, I can literally just push my thumb through that, do it again on this side, open her up, and I should be able to just peel all of that skin off. It just comes off just like that. There's a little bit left on this side, but really easy to remove. Just a little bit clumsy, a little bit slippery. Another good trick when you're doing these, some guys actually roll them in a bit of sand and they then aren't as slippery. A little bit more around there as well. Now, once you've got that off, normally with squid that are of a decent size, what you would do is you would turn them inside out, and you just push it inside out, and it's a really good way of cleaning out the inside. But because these squid are quite small, what I actually do, and you can do this if you want, or you don't have to, but I just think it's a good way of doing it. Nice sharp knife, I actually cut the outside of it like that, on one side, not all the way through, just on one side, and I'll open it up. Now obviously you're not going to get squid rings now, but it is going to give you the opportunity to clean out any of the guts and bits and pieces that are left inside there. You can see that just peels off as well. I'll just go down to the water and give it a quick wash again. Okay, so most of it's off. You can get a knife and just scrape that off there as well. You can see it's still coming off a little bit. I'll clean a little bit more of it at home. Now I've got this here. Normally I have my cutting board with me, which makes life a lot easier. Obviously don't have it now, but you can either do it now or when you get home. But rather than calamari rings, all I'm doing is cutting strips just like this. And these things, if I cut through it properly, totally ruin my knife on the rocks here. Fantastic to cook up. You just got these beautiful strips of fresh squid, and you know, a bit of egg, a bit of crumb in the deep fryer, absolutely sensational. And don't forget, even if you're into your soft plastics fishing, bring these out when you're chasing snapper. Stick a hook in it, ball sinker on top, throw it at the back, keep fishing with your soft plastics, because I'm telling you, big snapper absolutely love these things. They love them. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you catch them. That's how you clean them. You never know, we might even show you how to cook them one day. And one last thing, if you're out with the kids and you're on a jetty like this, 9 times out of 10 along the east coast is going to be brim all over it. Cut off one of these tentacles. We've just put it on a tiny jig head. Watch what happens. Go get them, Rodney.
Let's go get them. What do I got? Little Moses perch. And that was just on a little bit of squid tentacle that we pulled off on those squid.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe and the notification little bell there, so every time we get a video uploaded, you'll know about it. Plus heaps of how-to videos that'll hopefully help you guys out in your fishing endeavors.